Hey, so welcome everybody. This is one of my other lovely friends, Amanda, and I'm going to introduce Amanda. She is a mum and a business owner of Light of Alchemy. Now, Amanda can correct me on this. I'm aware that you do Reiki, and I think Seichim as well, and some wonderful circles you do. And we'll get into more of what you're doing as we go along. So I'm just giving a little bit of an introduction. And this is, just a bit of fun. I'm doing a guest speaker now and then, getting information around these beautiful souls who are doing this work. And really, I want to dive deep into the soul as well. So I'm just going to hand it over to you to do your little bit of introduction, because I'm sure I've just covered very basic. So Amanda, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, firstly, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm really honored that you asked me. I am an energy healer. I practice Reiki, and I do Seichim as well, and Bars Access Consciousness. And I'm a mother of 3 young children, and I birthed Light of Alchemy probably almost a year ago. So in April, it will be 1 year. So it's been pretty fresh.
Wow. And 3 kids. I mean, that's in and of itself, not a job and a half, but 2.5 jobs.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I felt that I've always been so connected to God and to spirit, and I've been thrown into this work by spirit, and I've said yes. So this is the work my purpose, and this is what I've come here to do, to help others also find their true selves and to really connect more to their intuition and to spirit. So that's my purpose. That's my main focus on the planet. And also being a mother and raising my children in a way where they can really tap into their psychic abilities and into their intuition, because they haven't been taught that at school. So I feel like it's really important. Yeah.
So when you just said before you were thrown into it, can you give me a little bit of information around that? Like, can you remember how you were thrown into this? Like, what were the events that led you to this, or what's your story around that?
Yeah, so I was raised as Catholic, and like I said, I've always been really connected to God and to spirit. And my grandmother was a pagan witch, so I learned a lot from her as well. And I started to dive into different religions and learning all about different cultures and how they practice and the rituals that they do. And I've just always been really fascinated by it. And I had a really dark time, and most people that have a spiritual awakening, they go through a really dark period where they start to question everything. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I had an anxiety attack about 4 years ago, where I went into a really deep depression, and I started questioning everything. Like, why am I here? What is the purpose of this? It's more than just the physical. I can feel energy. I can see it. There's got to be more to this. And then after that, so that was 4 years ago, after I had my last baby, my 3rd child. And I feel like when women are pregnant and they're about to birth their child and bring their child down from the cosmos, and then being that portal and then bringing that life in, it just activates something within the woman. So I feel like during the dark period when I had the anxiety attack, and when I had my baby, it activated something in my body, which was like, okay, there is more to this life than just this physical reality. There's something else that no one's really questioning. So there was a bit of that. And then it wasn't until about 2 years ago, with everything that's happening in the world, these events that are happening, I remember it was a profound moment where I had a full body activation, and I could hear it from spirit. Spirit was like, you need to do this work. And it just kept coming up like little messages here and there, but I kept ignoring it. And then there was this fundamental moment 2 years ago during the first announcement of what was happening in the world, and threw me on the ground, and I just started bawling my eyes out, and I'm like, this is what I'm meant to do. So it was very obvious in the end, but it took about 2 years for it to really land, and to receive the message so clear. Yeah.
That's amazing, because I've heard of a lot of people who've had all different kinds of experiences. Some people call it kundalini, some people call it awakening, some people, whatever label we want to give it. But I just want to go back to what you just said about the first part. You said about when the woman's getting ready to birth, there was something with your experience where you felt some activation. I think that was the word you used. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what was that? Was it a feeling? Do you remember what that was? Or was it a knowing? Or do you remember? Was there anything?
I even got goosebumps even just thinking about that time and what it did to my body. It was like, it's really hard to explain. It was like something from up here, like in the cosmos, I was pulling it down, and I was pulling it into my body, and I was harnessing this energy from source, and it was a full body activation of remembering that I am the portal. I am a woman. I am a creative, divine goddess. We all are, but we have forgotten. So it was like I had to remember that in order to help other women find that goddess within as well. So yeah, it's a bit hard to explain, but it was like a pull down of energy. Yeah.
And I think the key word is, and this is true, I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks and have studied them for a long time, and followed their teachings and applied it in my life, what I felt, worked for me. And they say the exact same thing. It's the remembering. It's not that you're learning anything new like we think we are, but it's actually remembering who we are. So I think that's the key word. It's you're channeling, or there's a port, whatever you want to call it, bringing it down. You're allowing yourself to expand and remember who you are. Is that right? Am I saying the right thing?
Absolutely. It's like I'm learning all of these things in the books, and on Gaia I'm constantly learning from people around me and growing, but it's like it keeps activating within my body. It's like, oh, I know that already. I know that because it's stored within my DNA. It's stored within my cells, because my body is remembering what the soul has gone through. And it's like I don't even need to fully dive deep into it because I already remember it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a reactivation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's not just a reactivation, but it's not just reactivating, but it's reactivating 2.3, 0.4 more? Like it's expanding. How do I explain it? It's like it's not just reactivating what you're remembering. It's like there's so many versions that have been created, and they're better and better and better, and you'll keep opening and downloading, I guess, letting in more light, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that like with the remembering, you're remembering past lives, and you're integrating all of those past lives into this life, and you are learning more, like you said, because you're expanding more, and you've got you're able to channel. You're able to remember what you had gone through in past lives and integrate it into now, and just shine that light. And it's powerful stuff.
It's fun, isn't it? It's fun.
Yeah.
So coming back to Light of Alchemy, now you mentioned, because some people could be watching something like this for the first time. You don't know who's watching, right? So Do you want to just explain to people briefly, like the Reiki and the Seichim, in your experience, what that means?
Yeah, sure. So with Reiki and Seichim, they're both really ancient spiritual practices. And it's basically using universal energy and feeling where there could be stored or trapped emotions within the body, and feeling that emotion and then shifting it on. And I use ancient symbols to kind of help people step into higher states of consciousness and raise their frequency. So when we've been, in trauma, or we've got blocks or fears coming up within the body, I can feel it and I can shift it off and clear the energy so it's all yours again. And by using these symbols, it really helps raise your vibration. So then you're able to be a clear channel and you can get on with your everyday life in the best way you can. So it's a beautiful thing to do. It's a really relaxing practice. So you just lie there and receive these beautiful blessings. A lot of people feel just really relaxed and they can get some goosebumps, or they might have a cold sensation or the warm sensation, which is completely normal, because with energy, when it's shifting, you can feel that within the body. And sometimes people have twitches, like their arm might start twitching or something like that. It's just an activation. So yeah, it's pretty incredible when people walk out and they just feel clear, like they've come back to their true selves. And they're not cluttered with busy thoughts in their head and all of that kind of stuff. So Reiki and Seichim can really help, and bars as well, can really help get rid of all those cluttered thoughts in their head and just bring you back to a peaceful state, which is just, yeah, it's magical. Once you're back in a peaceful state, you can do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's restoring peace. It's very, like similar to what I do, but we do things in a different way. We're all working towards the same goal, helping people release resistance and blocks and restoring peace. And I'm aware that you do hands-on with people, or you might want to explain that. Maybe, some Reiki healers actually keep their hands away. Some like the hands-on. I know I used to put my hands on because I really like that. But I'm also aware that you work remotely. So because I want you to explain to the audience that energy is everything and everywhere, and we don't have to be in the same room to be clearing or helping people, because we're all connected. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you work? Like you work from home in your studio, I believe, and you work with one-on-one people as well as groups for other things, but you do remote healing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So I've got a healing room here in my house, and I'm working out at Mullaney once a week in a beautiful log cabin in the village there, which is beautiful as well. That means that people can have a healing and then go for a walk in the waterfall and go through the forest, and it's just it's beautiful there. Yeah, and I also do the sessions via distance as well. So personally, I prefer to see people in person, just because of the whole experience. Like I said, you can go for a walk in nature and sit out here and have a cup of herbal tea. It's the whole experience. And I do so it just depends what spirit's kind of guiding me. Some people, I will just get this sense of, okay, I don't need to put physical touch on this person. But then sometimes I might want to just put my hand on the third eye and just really activate that and give a little head massage to kind of shift energy. But most of the time it's done with hands off. And with working via distance, it is incredible. Like it's a bit hard to wrap your head around just at the start, because you're like, how does that work if you're not in the physical presence of someone. But it goes back to when I was at church, when I was Catholic. Prayer energy is so powerful. And if you've ever experienced a miracle before of like what prayer can do, if you know, sitting around and praying for this person to get better, and there's, you know, your whole family praying, dear God, please help this person get better. The power is tenfold when you've got, I think it's when you've got more than 4 people, it's just absolutely amplified. Prayer energy can heal the world. It can heal individual people. It's all about intention. So if you've got intention, all of you together to pray for this one person, it works. It's incredible. So it's the same with working via distance. And we're all very telepathic too. So me just thinking of someone on the other side of the world, my girlfriend, it happens all the time. She's in Norway and I'm thinking of her and she'll contact me. And it's just the power of intention and prayer. So when I'm doing a call with her in Norway, there's no such thing as time and space when it comes to energy. Albert Einstein even said that. So it's science. But I guess people are still a bit skeptical because it's hard to get your logical brain around it. But yeah, I basically just think of the person and I can move my hands around and feel where I need to clear within their body. Like I visualize them, I picture their body and where I'm putting my hands, and I do it over Zoom so they can see everything I'm doing. Yeah, and then I go through a bit of a reading with them. So I kind of help them with some clarity and direction that they might need as well. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm hearing a lot what you're saying is, you know, you're working strongly from your intuition. And I remember when I first started, because I've always been interested in mystical things and woo-woo things and anything non-physical. It just fascinates me. I was even fascinated by death, if you want to call it that. But I remember getting my first deck of cards, the tarot, and doing a little course online. And the teacher was saying, you know, 95, 90%, maybe even more of what you're going to do is intuitive. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I work very much with intuition, and if you're not working with intuition, you know, you can't really, it's very hard to be a healer or whatever you want to call it. But intuition is major, and I'm hearing that from you. So what I want to ask you is a little bit about your psychic abilities. So you mentioned that before. So yeah, what do you want to share about your psychic abilities or your senses, because there's many of them?
Yeah, I just want to go back on what you said about how, you know, it's all about intuition. 100% it is. Like we were taught the manual from my Reiki teacher. She gave us the manual and she also said the same thing. So we follow the manual, but not really. Like I kind of use my intuition to, okay, I don't need to do that one there. I'll do this instead. And then I'll always go by what my intuition's saying and what spirit's saying. Yeah, so it's pretty incredible. Yeah, so what was the question? Sorry.
Yeah. Before I go on with that question again, how do you know your psychic, like your intuition? Is it coming through knowing, feeling, like you just know what to do? Is it different every time? Is it a range of things you're doing? Like for me, it's feeling mostly, but there's knowing that comes into it. Sometimes it's visual for me. What is it for you when you just get that intuitional kick or that gut instinct? What is that for you?
Yeah, so it started off when I was little. I used to be able to see everything, see spirits. And then I kind of, for some reason, it shut off for me. I couldn't see.
What would you be seeing? Sorry to interrupt. What would you be seeing?
I would see the mystics. I'd see elementals in the garden. And then my family said I had a really wild imagination, because I would also have really vivid dreams, and I'd have really bad nightmares. And I think I shut off because I wasn't supported when I had the visions of spirit. I would see and feel spirits, and then that kind of shut off a little bit. And then I've always had the knowing and the feeling, so the claircognizance and the clairsentient. And then when I started doing this work a year ago, it just slowly all kept opening up. So my clairaudient, I would hear things. Last night I had someone talking to me and saying, turn it up louder, turn it up. And I don't even know, it was a man. But I know it's coming from higher up. It's not, a crazy voice or anything like that, but it's spirit. And that's what clairaudient is. It's like a higher dimensional sound, and sometimes they're words. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. But then when I kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together, it's like, oh, that makes sense now. So my clairvoyancy is activated as well. So I will see entities. But sometimes I won't. And I don't put any pressure on it either. If I'm doing a house clearing, for example, I may see an entity, but I might not. And sometimes my ego gets in and I'm like, okay, so why am I not seeing anything? I can feel it, but why? And I try not to, I try not to overthink it too much, because the more I overthink it, the more I'm in that control state and fear. And then I'm a block. I can't channel. So I flow with it. Yeah.
So you basically did describe some of your psychic abilities. That was the original question. Something else you said there, I'm going to think back now. That was interesting. No, I can't think of it when it comes back. Let's talk a little bit about your circles that you do. Probably not the right word to use, but what do you call them?
So I call them embodiment meditation circles. So they're for women to come together in community again, because with patriarchy over the last, few hundred years, we've been stripped from that, from community and connection. So my mission is to help bring women back together again, and do circles. So it's a really good way to meet like-minded women, especially when you are stepping into higher frequencies. Your family and friends might fall away, which is completely natural. That's what happens sometimes when we are doing this work. People can get triggered by that, so they just naturally fall away, and then you do create new friendships, and it's a really great way to come together in community. And before, how I was talking about prayer energy and how it's all amplified. So basically, a lot of the circles we do is to shine our light. So a lot of the women that come are healers as well, and we all have the same intention to help the planet, to shine our light and to help people ascend, and to help with this mass collection awakening. So with the intention of all of us doing it together, it is really powerful. We also do a lot of healing within the circle. So we do a fire release ceremony where we, anything that's coming up for us that may be uncomfortable, we burn it in the fire, and we dance around the fire too, which is so much fun, to fully express ourselves in a way that is safe and comfortable. Because a lot of the time, when I was growing up, I wasn't able to fully express myself without being put down or saying that that's a bit weird how you're dancing, or you know. And I look at my children and I think that is just pure bliss, like watching them just be their true authentic selves and to express themselves. We need to take more tips from them. So with the circles I do, I really want women to feel comfortable and supported, so they can express themselves fully. Yeah,
that's beautiful what you're doing. I do see your pictures now and then, and they do look very luring. They're done on a beautiful, I think it's on your property around the fire, and the property looks beautiful and it's very inviting. And even, you know, like I know I've done various things, but people are all coming for different things. Sometimes they're just coming because they're wanting that nurturing, or they just want to have fun, or whatever their reasons are. So it just looks very inviting. I remembered now what it was. You said that voice said, make it louder or something like that, the male voice. Was that? When you said that, I was thinking like it was almost like a message for you to turn up your vibration, making you bigger and louder. That's what came to me when you said that. So.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what the message was. But when I had it last night, I was like, what does that mean? And then I looked back at my journal. Make it louder means make it bigger. Make this bigger, girl. Like you're
big, bigger, expand. Yeah,
that's exactly what the message was. Yep.
So some tips for people, because like, you know, I teach people about alignment. That's everything. And alignment is about finding a way to connect with yourself, finding a way to feel good, finding a way to come into your alignment. Because when we're out of alignment, we don't feel so great. We feel yuck. We've got negative emotions going on. Are there rituals or things that you do daily, you can call it a ritual or whatever you want to call it, a pattern, that help you stay in alignment often or come back into alignment that you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. The main thing that really helps me is coming back into the body. I feel that a lot of us are out of body because we are all in a lot of women are in the masculine. So we're in that fight, flight kind of control energy as well. So we haven't learned how to come back into the body. So I do an embodiment practice every morning, and it doesn't go for long just because I've got the children here and, you know, it's a bit hectic in the morning, but 5 minutes in the morning. I just go out onto my veranda and I look at my trees and I remember that I am one with Mother Nature. I'm connected. And then I do a grounding. So I visualize my light grounding in and my tree trunks growing into the earth. And I just remember that I am one with Mother Nature. But I also feel my body. I bring all my energy back into my body. So I, you know, hold myself and I give myself a big cuddle and gratitude every day for this vessel that I have. And I do a dance every morning. And my neighbors, I swear they probably look at me and think I'm mad, but
cuckoo. You're having fun being cuckoo.
Yeah, they probably want to come and join me. But yeah, so I do a little dance. I shift my energy around and I pretend I'm a tree, kind of move my arms around, and I just shift the energy around my body to start the day, come back embodied. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Grounding, I found, when I was working with people a good year or two ago, I would, because I'm very much up in my, what you would call your higher chakras, if you want to call it that, but very much up in that la-la land a lot and connecting into that high vibration, I would find myself very ungrounded. And I'm one of these people that have to eat meat. Like I notice when I just, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I'll come back to why I'm saying this, because you'd mentioned grounded. And I have to practice being grounded because, if I go and have like a lot of vegetarian meals and things like that, I'm wired. I can't sleep much. I'm wide awake. I'm very ungrounded. I'm floating to the point where it's quite uncomfortable. So I have to I put my bare feet on the ground and feel the earth connection. I have to ground myself a lot because I tend to go up into that high vibration too much. And it's, you know, we're even though we're spiritual beings, we are humans. We're here to have, you know, a human experience and to be human, you know, as much as we want to. So I like that you said that about the grounding. And I think that healers, people who are doing any of this light work or working with people, regardless of what shape or form it's coming in, you do need to, it's important to ground. So I want to ask you now about this is one of the main reasons I'm doing these talks with people. I want to get more into the soul, what it means to you, what, you know, like I've got words like higher self, soul. If you want to use the word God, goddess, to me, it's all the same thing. That's just my belief. But I want to go into what's your belief, because humans have a tendency to think, oh, there's only one way. And there's not one way. We're all co-creators, but we're master creators. So you actually get to have your own belief system, and it's true for you. So I want to know what your belief system is around the soul, and you know, how much of you try and bring your soul into your present as much as you can. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So I get people asking me questions. You can see my kids in the background.
That's all right. It's good. That's good.
Yeah, I get people asking me this question all the time because they know that I still pray to Jesus, and I still pray to goddesses, and I do all these different things that aren't textbook in a box. I'm not in a box. I never was in a box. Growing up, they tried to put me in a box of just believing in one thing. And I love the Bible. I love Jesus. I love Mother Mary, but I also love Buddha. I also love Hinduism. I also love witchcraft. And people are really intrigued by it because they say, how can you play with the tarot but also pray to Jesus? And there are no rules.
Yeah.
I'm not my intentions are always pure and
Right.
with love and light.
Sorry to interject, but that's the thing. People think tarot is dark, and what they don't realize is there's dark and light in every aspect. It just depends on what side you're jumping on. So sorry, continue.
Yeah, for sure. There's polarity in everything, and you've got to be really discerning. Discernment is really important. So that's one thing I practice every day, discernment, when working with, you know, spirit. But yeah, I play with the tarot. I do spells, and I also pray. Praying and doing spells is pretty much the same thing. It's just a different word. And same with God and source. It's the same thing. And it's been inverted for such a long time. And I'm just taking bits and pieces that really resonate with me and how my body reacts to it and what my intuition's saying. And then, I create my own church. I'm my own church. I don't belong in a box or a category. Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful place to be, because I'm similar in that way. When people come to me, it's whatever their belief system is. Now, you can have whatever belief systems you want as long as they're serving you. But when they're not serving you, I think that because we're so open and we allow people to believe whatever they want, then you can work with whatever their blocks are. It's all about intention, and it's really working with them individually, not imposing what my belief is, or this is what, you know. The belief is as strong as what I want for that person is to help them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And everybody, and that's the beauty of us all as human beings. We're all so different. We all have different beliefs. And I just find it so interesting I just love learning from everybody and hearing what their beliefs are. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. That's a good point. Or, I love being open-minded and exploring, because I don't think we don't ever truly know. And I think when we are in a state, yeah, we're never done. And when we're in a state of knowing, we know it all. We're never going to be open to receiving new and expanding even more. So I'm all about growth and expanding. So I don't know it all. I just, like little bits and pieces from different practices and rituals that resonate with me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're going well for time. I want to keep going here if I can. So
Yeah.
it's fascinating. I love it. I just want to tap in a bit more. What is this? What does the soul mean to you? What does it mean for you? And you can use many words here in describing that, but when you're connecting with your soul and it's flowing through you, because it's happening now, people think it's this, and sometimes it is, but well, you tell me, what does it mean for you to be working with your soul?
So everybody's soul, for me personally, what I believe is that my soul personally has gone through many, many lives, and I am finding my true self again. I'm finding my soul. I'm remembering past lives and like I was saying before, integrating it into this life. But working with my soul is working with my higher self and my true self, without layers of programming and conditioning and trauma, removing veils. So removing all of those layers and coming back to the true soul, our true essence within. And takes a lot of bloody work. I mean, I'm only 36 and I haven't been doing this work for very long, but I've had many lifetimes where I have done the work, and I'm unveiling it very quickly, because I've done it before, and it's kind of like the reactivation. But I feel that that's what it's all about for me. Working with my soul is just coming back to my true self.
And what does that feel like, your true self? If you could describe that to someone.
She's free. The true self is free. She's sovereign. She's in power, and she's just divine. It's a really beautiful, freeing feeling when you work through all of the layers, and you start to realize that, hey, everything that we're ever taught was possibly not true.
There's a book, I've never read it, and I'm not going to swear, but it's the Un-F Yourself. And I think it's pretty much trying to, on some level, trying to teach that to people, to undo everything you've been taught, to learn who you are, because you've been taught who you are. You haven't been able to explore who you are. I mean, some have, but yeah, it's really flipping that paradigm and that programming. So now I'm going to throw you in the deep end. Have you got a story that you remember that when you've worked with someone, something fascinating that's happened or that you did? Can you remember?
I've got a few. I've got one that really tripped me out, and it was probably when I first opened up. I think it was in the first week of being of Light of Alchemy opening, and I felt a presence of an energy that came through when I had this person with me, and I knew that this presence was actually, it's a bit hard to explain, like this person was living. This person was living, but I could feel the energy in my room. And I thought that this is a male. I could feel a masculine energy in the room. And I didn't want to scare the client on the bed or anything like that. I could just feel all of this stuff. I'm like, there's a male. He's not dead. He's actually in this physical reality, but his energy is in this room. And I thought, that doesn't make any sense. I thought, I can only feel spirit if they've passed away. Anyway, at the end of it, the client said I could feel my dad. And I thought, oh, maybe the dad's passed away. She goes, but Amanda, he's alive. And I'm like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it. How can he be here, but also be here? And it really dawned on me, we are multidimensional beings. And that's when it really landed. Like, people always say we're multidimensional, but it didn't really land for me until I had that experience of this guy being in the room, the spirit. Yes. And he was a very controlling man. So he was not letting me get to her. Because in the physical, he's very controlling, but his spirit came through. And that blew me away. That was really profound. And she was also really shocked too.
Yeah, it's like an omnipresence. I know when my son, when he was young, we lived in a really big house, and kids when they're little, it's not ideal for them to be in a big house or in a big room. And he would run into my room nearly every night, want to get into bed, and try and put him on the floor. And he would, not every night, but most nights, still come in. So one night I was sleeping and he came in. And this is just to share with what you're talking about, the interesting things that happen. And I thought, oh, what does he want? I'm half awake, half asleep. So I sort of can feel him and see him there. And I open my eyes and he stops and he stands there. And I think, oh, he'll go away if I just pretend I'm asleep. And I didn't hear a noise, because normally he'll go, or something. So I opened my eyes again, and then I watched him walk into the wall behind me that goes, we're in a 2-story home, that goes outside. And I just went,
oh,
okay,
what?
his soul traveling at night or whatever he was doing, but it was full physical form. Because I was like thinking, go away. And then I opened my eyes thinking, where's he gone? And then I just watched him. So we are multidimensional. So when you're sleeping, God only knows what we're doing. It's visiting universes and working on people, or there's so much going on that we can't wrap our heads around, and yet we see things and go, that was real.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we sleep for such a huge amount of our lives, like we're asleep for half the day every day. So where do we go when we sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good question. And scientists haven't been able to answer that, but I do believe we're 100% multidimensional, and we are going into other timelines and other dimensions. And it's fascinating. Like that's a huge eye opener, like seeing something like that, and to also feel the client's father in the room. Yeah. There was also another time where I had a client here, and I could feel the grandmother, and I didn't say anything until the very end, but what happened was I said to him, did you feel a presence? And he said, oh, the grandmother. I was like, yeah, because I wrote it down. Anyway, as soon as we started talking about it, the candle smashed off the top of my shelf, literally moved and smashed on the ground, because he was a real skeptic. And I said to him, I go, that's your grandmother saying, hello, this is real. This stuff is real. And he was blown away. He could not believe it. We tried to make logical sense out of it. I said, oh, maybe the candle was sitting a bit. No, the candle smashed off that shelf. Yeah. And she did.
Yeah. And when you start opening to things, it's pretty incredible, like the amazing things that happen at the right timing. Like the universe is just conspiring to please you and show you. When you open up to the signs and things, it becomes so much fun to play with that energy. Yeah, it is. It's incredible. Yeah. Okay, so anything else you want to share before we wrap up? That's just been wonderful what you've spoken about so far. Maybe I should ask you, I'm going to get you to send me some links where people can reach you. But is there anything else you wanted to share in closing?
Probably that I would love for people to see other possibilities. Sometimes people feel that they're trapped and this is the life they have to live. This is the done thing. My life is mapped out for me and this is what I have to do. But that's not necessarily true. There are so many other possibilities and options. But we need to just slow down the mind in order to receive messages from the divine, to guide you, because we're so supported in other realms. And I think people think that this is all there is, but there's so much more out there, and we're always being divinely guided. We just need to be open to receive the love and messages from our guides to help support us. Yeah,
that's beautiful. And I think if people don't even do anything, just like you say, opening your heart, that'll get you going. Like, you don't need to do specific rituals as such, or do this or do that. It's not about doing it. It's about having fun exploring what does open up your heart. And once you do, you really are connecting with that divine or that source in powerful ways that do incredible things. Like, things can turn on a dime.
Yeah, it's all about opening up the heart. Yeah,
beautiful. Well, it's been lovely chatting with you, and I would maybe catch up with you down the track just to see how things are going, and look at possibly talking about some other things. So I'm going to wrap up and say big soul love from me, and we'll finish up today. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you want to reach out to Amanda, I will put the links in the bottom. So I'm going to say bye for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you. Bye.